Hello everyone, welcome to Chelsea Sport Focus. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started.
Chelsea's January transfer window has taken on a familiar sense of intensity and urgency as the club finds itself locked in a complex and increasingly high-stakes pursuit of Rennes defender Jeremy Jac. At just 20 years old, Jac has emerged as one of the most coveted young centre-backs in European football, and Chelsea's interest reflects both their long-term recruitment philosophy and their immediate need to stabilise a defence that has struggled for consistency throughout the season. From the outside, this saga looks like another ambitious move by a club determined to invest in elite potential. Inside Stamford Bridge, however, the situation feels far more pressing. Chelsea's league position has fallen short of expectations, performances have been uneven, and defensive lapses have repeatedly undermined otherwise promising displays. Against that backdrop, the pursuit of Jac is not simply about planning for the future, but about addressing a present vulnerability that has become impossible to ignore. Chelsea's interest in Jac is not new. Club officials have tracked his development closely since his loan spell at Clermont Foot, where his composure, athleticism, and maturity beyond his years first caught the attention of elite recruiters. Since returning to Rennes, his rise has been rapid. He has established himself as a first-choice centre-back in Ligue 1, earned recognition at youth international level with France's under-20s, and shown an ability to cope with pressure in high-profile fixtures. His blend of aerial strength, anticipation, and comfort on the ball aligns perfectly with the modern demands placed on top-level defenders. Negotiations between Chelsea and Rennes intensified as January progressed. Chelsea's sporting leadership made early contact, initially to gauge Rennes' willingness to entertain a mid-season sale. Those conversations quickly revealed the scale of the challenge. Rennes, well aware of Jacquet's importance and his growing market value, made it clear they were in no rush to sell. With Champions League qualification firmly in their sights, losing their defensive leader halfway through the campaign would represent a significant sporting risk. That reluctance has been reflected in Rennes' valuation. Any deal, they insist, would require a fee that borders on extraordinary, one that compensates not only for Jacquet's talent, but also for the timing of the move. Figures north of £50 million have been discussed, with Rennes privately aiming to set a new benchmark for defensive sales from the club. The message has been consistent. Only an offer too good to refuse would open the door in January. Chelsea, for their part, have not been discouraged. They see Jac as a cornerstone defender who could anchor their backline for the next decade. In a squad built largely around youth, his age is viewed as an advantage rather than a risk, particularly given the volume of senior football he has already played. The club believes that under the right guidance, Jac could grow into a leader at Stamford Bridge, capable of shaping the defensive identity Chelsea have been searching for since their last settled title-winning core began to break apart. Competition for his signature has only added to the urgency. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich have all expressed admiration for Jac at various points, and Chelsea are acutely aware that waiting until the summer could place them at a disadvantage. Other clubs may have more stable league positions, clearer projects, or fewer immediate needs, but Chelsea are betting that early action and a decisive offer could tilt the balance in their favour. For Jac himself, the interest from Chelsea appears genuinely appealing. The prospect of joining a club with global stature, a long-term vision built around young players, and the promise of regular Premier League football is difficult to ignore. Reports suggest he is open to the move and intrigued by the idea of becoming a central figure in Chelsea's rebuild. That openness is one of the reasons Rennes have at least engaged in dialogue, even while publicly maintaining a firm stance. Yet the situation remains delicately balanced. Rennes know that selling Jac now could weaken their push for European qualification, a goal that carries significant financial and sporting rewards. They also understand that waiting until the summer could spark a bidding war, potentially driving his price even higher. Chelsea, meanwhile, must decide how far they are willing to go financially and whether committing such a large sum mid-season aligns with their broader strategy. Behind the scenes, Chelsea's need for defensive reinforcement is undeniable. Injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of cohesion have plagued the backline, leaving the coaching staff searching for solutions. Jacquet represents more than a short-term fix. He symbolises a reset, a statement that Chelsea are serious about building a defence capable of. Speculation surrounding Enzo Fernandez and a potential move to Paris Saint-Germain has added another layer of intrigue to an already noisy transfer landscape. But the reality behind the headlines appears far more complex than initial reports suggest. The 24-year-old Chelsea midfielder, who is under contract at Stamford Bridge until 2032, has once again found himself linked with Europe's elite, with L'Équipe suggesting PSG are monitoring him with a view to a possible move in the summer of 2026 rather than the current window. That report, however, has been quickly met with a firm response from PSG inside Actus, a source closely aligned with the Parisian club. According to their information, Paris Saint-Germain are not currently pursuing Enzo Fernandez, and any serious discussions between the two parties belong firmly in the past. They state that the last time PSG explored the idea of signing Enzo was before his eventual move to Chelsea, and that there has been no contact or negotiation since then. This clear contradiction highlights a familiar pattern during transfer windows, where a single name can generate multiple narratives, often with little solid evidence to support them. As ever, caution is essential. Transfer rumours are rarely straightforward, especially when they involve a high-profile player at a club as visible as Chelsea. PSG are routinely linked with a long list of elite talents each year, many of whom never come close to actually joining the club. Enzo Fernandez fits the profile of a player who will always attract interest on paper. A World Cup winner, a technically gifted midfielder, and someone entering his prime years. That alone is often enough to spark stories, even in the absence of genuine movement behind the scenes. There is also a unique contextual element to consider in Enzo's case, particularly regarding his perception in France. His image suffered significantly following Argentina's 2022 World Cup celebrations, which were overshadowed by racist chants directed at the French national team. While football clubs are often pragmatic and focus primarily on sporting value, public perception still matters, especially for a club like PSG that operates under intense media and political scrutiny. This aspect alone could make any potential move more complicated than a standard transfer negotiation. From Chelsea's perspective, Enzo Fernandez remains a central figure in their long-term project. His contract, running until 2032, gives the club a position of strength and control. While his time at Chelsea has coincided with periods of instability and transition, he is still viewed internally as a cornerstone of the midfield, both for his technical ability and his leadership qualities. Chelsea invested heavily in him, not just financially, but symbolically, seeing him as a player around whom a new identity could be built. That said, football is rarely static. A departure cannot be entirely ruled out if Chelsea continue to struggle for consistency or fail to meet their competitive ambitions. Elite players naturally seek stability, Champions League football, and a clear sporting vision. If those elements are missing, even long contracts can become less binding in practical terms. Yet even in that scenario, Enzo would likely have multiple options across Europe, and PSG would not be the only club capable of matching his profile or demands. For PSG, priorities may also lie elsewhere. The club is in a phase of reassessing its squad structure, moving away from a Galactico-heavy model toward a more balanced and cohesive team. While Enzo Fernandez would undoubtedly add quality, PSG must weigh whether his profile aligns with their evolving strategy, especially given the depth they already possess in midfield and the other areas that may require reinforcement. Ultimately, L'Équipe's framing of Enzo as a possible target